All right, Yote fans, welcome back to this week's edition of the Steel Show. Back in head coach Mike Moroski's office to talk about last week's game against Carroll College. And coach, jumping right into the game, just kind of your thoughts on the game. Obviously a tough one for the Yotes. Simplot Stadium was a very good game until the end, and Carroll was able to make a few plays. But what was your overall assessment of the game?
Not a huge surprise. I mean, it was a great matchup, a great chess match, if you will. If you want to get more on that analogy, it was a very physical chess match. So I thought they surprised us a little bit defensively with their defense early. Had us off balance, but we got and made adjustments, so that was very pleasing, and we did some good things. We got a big goal line stand at the beginning, and then got a turnover, and then we're able to score. And I always feel like against Carroll, we need to be ahead of them, and or at least right with them. And but again, knew it was going to be that kind of game. They're a very good team. I thought they had some wrinkles on defense for sure. Offensively, we were able to shut down their offense pretty darn well, their run game, but opened some things up in the pass game, and they made some plays, and we really just couldn't get any breaks in the second half. So good back and forth first half, and they hit a couple big plays, which makes it tough on the defense. I thought we were playing well up front, and ended up having 6 sacks and lots of pressures. Felt like we let them off the hook maybe a couple times, especially in the second half. We had 3rd and 14 or 15 2 different times, and they made one, and then there was my opinion, questionable PI, which really hurt us. And then on top of that, now offensively, they got some pressure on Andy, and that's not good. Every quarterback knows when you're getting pressured, and then they made some spectacular interceptions. So the interceptions on one hand minimized our possessions in the second half, and then the couple times where we could not get off the field on 3rd and very, very long, extended theirs. So it became this, lopsided thing. Again, so happy we fought back, had a chance, and they got up 2 touchdowns, but even then still didn't give up, drove down the field. And then the final interception in the red zone, which again was really, really my call, and we could have put Caden Young in a better position that way. That's always our goal, is to put the quarterback in the best possible position. I don't think we succeeded at that on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the defensive side, really felt like you guys came out with a pretty good plan. We're being aggressive, and like you said, we're able to come out of the gates getting a lot of stops. In that second half, giving up some more big plays, and we're unable to really get Carroll off the field consistently. So was it adjustments on their side, or you feel like the Yotes just weren't quite executing as well as they were in the first half, or maybe a combination of both that just allowed us to not get as many stops?
It was such a blend. It was such a up and down thing. I mean, there's the one series where we're down by 8, and after missing a extra point, they go down and score again to go up 35-27. The next, we punt, get them deep in the territory, so we move the ball a little bit, get them deep. And this is just my opinion, that kind of a overall, the way the game went. And so we get them backed up, 3 straight sacks. And then they hike it over the punter's head, safety, and we're back in business. 35-29, down 6, and but again, it was back and forth that way. I mean, it's just the way football's meant to be, in my opinion, and we just didn't capitalize on our opportunities, and for whatever reason. But yes, they made adjustments. We made adjustments that worked, and so both teams were great going back and forth, and ultimately they made more big plays, and it was really the big plays that we gave up, the big passes that really killed us. I think took the wind out of our sails, and then on their defense, getting pressure on Andy and getting a couple picks.
Absolutely. All right, Coach, well, moving right on to this week, we got another big matchup, as always, with Eastern Oregon. It's rivalry week. Always a fun one going to LeGrand and playing these guys. And you got some familiar faces. Former receivers coach is now their offensive coordinator, former receivers coach for the Yotes. So that'll be a fun matchup. And so as you've dove into the Eastern Oregon film, what are you seeing from those guys this season?
Well, I think they're as good as they've ever been in the last at least 4 years. They when we first came into the conference, they had some really, really good teams. But I think they're back. I think their quarterback is very good. Quincy Glasper is a very, very good player. They have one receiver who's great. Spurrier is a fantastic player, and they move the ball around. They're struggling, I think, to run the ball a little bit. They got a big offensive line and have been doing well at times running the ball. I think they'll try to run the ball against us, and hopefully we can stop that and figure out a way to stop their pass game. Defensively, they really do a lot of varied things. They don't have one set defense, but they do a variety of things. They throw a lot at you. So it's in terms of recognition, and with our depletion on the offensive line, it's making it really, really tough. But we believe that you have to be resilient. You have to step up, and so it'll be an exciting week of practice and preparation for them, because I think they're a very good team. And then special teams, they may be the best special teams crew in the conference. Their head coach runs their special teams, and they have a tremendous variety. They block kicks. They've got some great returns. So they're doing it all kind of, and have played some close games, and just have had some other games kind of get away from them a little bit. And I think they're still maybe trying to figure out, how do you win? And as we've talked many, many times on this show, it's hard to win.
Absolutely.
It's very, very difficult to win. So, but from my assessment as a coach, I think they're playing really, really good football, as good as they have in a long, long time. And Leon Ledoux, our receivers coach the last couple of years, who's the offensive coordinator, seems to be doing a good job. They're going fast at times on offense, and there's some familiar things, but he has some great wrinkles in there too. And then their defensive coordinator is a young guy who played for them and did a nice job as a player. And so they're playing hard, that's for sure. So as you know, the Eastern Oregon game, one of your favorite games of all time, I think.
Absolutely.
It's rivalry. It's an evening game or night game there, and it'll be crisp and cold. Maybe it's going to rain too, but I don't think that'll dampen anybody's spirits. No. I think it'll be a fantastic game. We both need a win in the worst way, and so we're excited about playing. And as tough as it was in the Carroll game, and every game in the Frontier Conference is such a different matchup. That's one thing I didn't mention with the Carroll game is they had a couple situations. I thought they did a great job where they really forced us into difficult matchups.
Absolutely.
Especially with their defensive line and on our tight ends at times, or our backs, or whatever it was. And
there's good coaches in this league.
Yes, good coaches, and then every team matches up with everybody else a little bit differently depending on what you do. So Eastern, I think they feel like they match up well with us. Even last year, they weren't having a great year. They came out, it was a shootout, back and forth, and we got to figure out how to slow them down.
Absolutely.
Is the bottom line. And they're good, and they're tough. They're tough on us. Leon, of course, adds that element of really knowing us a little bit better than most people do from the inside. So, but that's what makes football intriguing. There's all sorts of coaches and the SEC that were on one staff or on another staff now, and that's all part of the gamesmanship and all the things you do. So it makes it a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about the game.
And can you talk about their quarterback skill set a little bit? Because obviously last year coming to Simplot Stadium, like you said, shootout, really back and forth game, kind of a game where it felt like who's got the ball last kind of thing in some ways.
Yeah.
But he really gave you some fits and was a new player for them last year. So you can just kind of talk about his skill set and what makes him such a threat.
They've used him as a runner a little bit more this year, but I think his skill set or his talent is in throwing the ball. He seems to have a great grasp of the offense. He's a very, very accurate thrower, and throws deep as well as short very, very well. And then he is mobile and is quite capable of running, but he tends to use his mobility to
Keep his eyes down the field and
throw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, I really like him. Have really come to respect him. It's just worked out this year where we've seen, as we're preparing for our next opponent, they've played that same opponent. So we've seen Quincy Glasper a lot, and they're doing some really, really good things offensively.
Absolutely. Well, Yote fans, tune into the game this Saturday. It's a night game out in LeGrand, Oregon. Big one for the Yotes in this rivalry. Coach, good luck. Go get him this week.
Thanks, Broch.
Thanks, sir.
Go Yotes.
All right.